We are live. Welcome to Planet Collingwood, live from Melbourne, Victoria, Australia. My name is Monty Dean. I should have rehearsed that because I was going to. Anyway, you're on Revolution Radio, Studio A. Oh, what 7 days does the history bring? A big thank you to Tony and Why Not. I hope they were on and the crew for the Y-Files because I've been busy doing research for my show. Yes, it's a rare moment in history that I actually put together some stuff to try and put together some stuff. But if you enjoyed the last 2 hours, please go to revolution.radio and or freedomslips.com and donate what you can. A cup of coffee here, a small Venezuelan house, a Porsche, whatever you feel like. We don't accept kids. I mean, after the last time. And once you're there at the website, buy some merchandise so you can wear them proudly. T-shirts, caps, onesies for the little ones. I do believe there may be some USB key rings. I'm not sure. I haven't delved into that yet because I'm extremely broke. And then after that, pop into the chat room and hang out with like-minded, like-hearted, and just liked people like Blasphemous Buddha. BB nods. See, that's what I do. But now I've got to wait 30 seconds for him to hear that. And the Mighty Roe is there as well. All hail the Roe Nation. Cortek will be popping in about 27 minutes. He's on assignment, which is code for he has stuff to do. So there you go. If you want to join me, just send me a message and pop on in. And we have a lot to talk about, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Mainly, well, where to start? Let's see. We'll go with there was an earthquake here at the mighty Melbourne, or the southern eastern portion of Australia. It was centralized at, I think it was Mansfield, which is about 120 kilometres from. I'll see now people like saying hello. Like, do you want to join, or are you just saying hello while I'm on air? Damn kids. So let's see. There you go. So yeah, 120 kilometres from Melbourne, around about 60 miles. And all right, there we go. Just now I have someone to talk to if it works. There we go. Another man that was extremely traumatized by the earthquake this morning at 9:17 was our little pony. How are you, Pones?
Shaken, not stirred.
Hey, all right, let's go. Hey, a bit of rock and roll. So yeah, it was around about 100, and it was felt as far as Canberra into New South Wales, and I believe Adelaide got a bit of stuff as well. And so yeah,
they got a bit of stuff, all right.
Yeah. No, they reacted to said. Anyway, so yeah, that's basically it. It was just it was a 5.8, or rounded up to 6, and it's like, well, okay. Now it's my second earthquake. The other earthquake was around about 10 years ago, and it was an apartment building where they have the car park underneath, so it's on stilts. So guess what that did? That really went off and like wobble, wobble, wobble. But this time I'm on a ground level two-bedroom unit, and I'm like, I know this. And it's very, 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 very rare that Australia has earthquakes. But when we do it Australian style. Now, you live in a box, don't you?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
On a hill. So the last one I felt, that vibrated for a while, a good 10 seconds.
Yes.
And it was a rumble, where this one was a definite shaker, like a side to side, to and fro. So they were quite different, and this one was shorter than the other one. But yeah.
Yes, funny. I mean, you know, there is a theory that Emperor Andrews, our premier, released the earthquake to just shake up things here in Melbourne. So
to rub it in the construction workers.
Well, there is that as well. I mean, unless it's God playing funny buggers, and I love my God here because it's like the day before. Oh, we'll stop all construction for 2 weeks, and then the next day there's an earthquake where they need construction workers. It's irony.
And it was. I'm watching the TV in silence now. Protest. There's a field of men here, and the earthquake happened at Mansfield.
Oh, there you go. Yes.
No connection whatsoever.
No, of course not, Code Boy. We've also been joined by our New York correspondent, John Z. Mr. Z, haven't seen you on Planet Collingwood for a while.
Oh yeah, I was just providing stability and control to my new empire.
So World of Warcraft's going well. Cool, awesome. Excellent. And so everything's. I may go a bit pony on this show because everything is connected. Because there was an earthquake a day after they locked down the building industry. Slight irony there. You've had police. We're on day 3. So we've had 4 protests in 5 days, and we're on day 3 of what started out as a protest of a union, and now it's spread across to actually the lockdown with the government. And the Victorian government, see, watch how I go pony. The Victorian government used to have a deal with the Chinese Communists, the CCP, which my political assessment of the CCP, they suck, with the Belt and Road. And then the federal government said, no, you can't do that for national security. On top of that, the start of this week, like the last 7 days, after last week's show, we opened with Joe Biden, with Boris Johnson, and that fella from down under, who we call Scott Morrison, had together that trilateral treaty about submarines. Man. Remember that? That was 7 days ago.
That was right after the shows. They came out with that.
Yeah.
And I had to look back. I thought there was a bit of code there with a space story, Hydrogen, which was a combination of hydrogen and ocean. They put out, and I thought, okay, something like that, but nothing like what actually happened. But there was the big nuke symbol, and we're back with the boys, where it's us, it's the White Brotherhood, London, Australia, and America, and we're screwed pretty much. They put a nail in our coffin.
As well. And I'll add to that. Are you familiar with the United States in their budget has withdrawn funding of the Iron Dome in Israel?
I haven't heard that. But,
See, strangely enough, that's not being talked about because it's like, oh, what?
No.
Like, because the US is very, very supportive of Israel, but because apparently some woke democratic people in the party, so they've withdrawn the funding for said Iron Dome. And so I'm wondering, like, should we go to Benjamin Fulford? Because there is a lot of something's happening in the closed doors in geopolitics. Because it was 5 eyes and now it's only 3 eyes, and then the Biden are sticking it to Israel. It's like, well, that's different, especially from it's only been 7 months.
Well, again, it's what they're telling us. So 12 subs, they're already building God knows what type of weapons in secret that we don't know about and never will. So what they flashed across the screen, highly symbolic of what's to come, I think. So it has set off a chain reaction as well with France and China. So China's like, I don't think they will go to war. Their war is economics. They just flood with volume. They don't need to pick up an arm and go in and get stuff. They just move in and take over like that. And look at India. India weren't given the keys to the economic kingdom. It was China that were. Same population, different set of sort of end game.
And add to that, what's happening in China is there's some economic it's unstable, because I can't think of the other word, because of Evergreen, Everglade,
it's close to that big ship, Evergreen and Evergrande.
Yeah, Grant, thank you. Yeah, I knew I'll get it wrong, but there's an ever there. And it looks like that could be the same level as Lehman Brothers collapsing in 2008. And that's going to expose corruption and criminality. And the Chinese are linked to and it's like, I just want to wake up and make people laugh.
It could be a thing where they're forced into war. They lose everything. Like I said, they don't go to war. They just move in. But if they lose everything, then they may be forced into pulling the trigger. You know how you need the enemy to go first, so we have the right to kill them, type of deal.
Yes, Well, I'm not sure how much China is in the industrial military complex. Because, like, say, if this was the USA, they'll start a war because that's how they generate money, and it's a great distraction. But would that happen in China?
I did see a story on a side note of basically someone bought out a rail link in America, and it's the first one that connects Mexico, US, and Canada.
Oh, yes.
Think of the NAU, right, which we still haven't gone through. Are we still going to go through that, or do you reckon they're just going to jump to the New World Order, one world?
Depends, because a quick acknowledgement for the Canadian election. I'd like to congratulate Canadians' first black Prime Minister, Mr. Justin Castro Trudeau, of winning again. Basically,
is it Trudeau?
Yeah, Castro. I don't know, but apparently the whole election would cost $600 million US, and 2 seats changed. It's basically the same thing, and he's done blackface repeatedly, and it's like, oh no, it's fine. So yeah, Canada, you're very unique. I'll put it.
You just made me realize that their productions are bigger than Hollywood productions.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't know if it's on purpose, but people have said that Australia and Melbourne are like a testing program, and I think they're just certain people are seeing how it works, if that makes sense. They didn't instigate it, but like, oh, okay, this is happening, and now they're seeing. Planned.
Because Sydney have not had that mandatory construction aspect. They've actually said, no, you don't have to take it for now. So this is solely focused on Victoria and the tradies here. So tradies are, now they said, we all know the media's lying. They said they were neo-Nazis and alcoholics. That's bullcrap. That's total BS. But there are a lot of drinkers in that crew.
Well, yeah, we're Australians, and we have to deal with this shit. So, yeah. Now the thing is, yesterday, Monday was definitely tradies. Oh well, the head of the union. I can't remember the union name because it's weird initials, but we'll just refer to it as the union for the rest of the show because I can't be stuffed sitting there going CMUF. PMOUSE. He called on the Monday. There was a lot of anger. It was not actually a protest against the government. It was a protest. The members of the union protested the management of said union, and because the union is it management or hierarchy? They agree. Oh yeah, mandatory vaccines, and the members of no, but obviously with more colourful language that we can't say on radio. Because it's loss of freedom, mandate and freedom don't really work in a sentence unless it's this one, or you mandate freedom. There's 2 sentences. Everything else, it doesn't really work.
I was going to get back to this. Why we're the centre of it, Victoria, where other states aren't copping this construction aspect.
Okay, and then I'll go back to I'll go back to the timeline. But please share this because it makes sense.
Well, no, but yeah, all that stuff. That's what you're talking about. That's the stuff that gets everyone angry because we know they're lying, and that's where you've got to take a step back and just go, this is being done on purpose. They're manipulating us more to react more, and that's what they want, man. So I know we want to get angry, we want to fight.
Yeah,
but it's a trap.
They want violence, and so they can play. Look, see, but that's the problem now. If they're peaceful, it's like, they're not doing what they're supposed to, which is kind of ironic because that's what we're fighting against. We don't want to do do what you're told. No. So the timeline is there was destruction, and there was a great joke of because it's a building union. It's like, well, who's going to fix the union? It's a small job, cash money, and fix up the front of the offices.
Deep breath, mate. Deep breath.
Overnight, the head of the union said, it wasn't all members. There were right-wing entities and neo-Nazis and anti-vaxxers. So it's a fake protest. And, of course, that riled up everybody. At the same time, the government decided to put the construction industry on lockdown for 2 weeks. So what do you think happened the next day on Tuesday? A lot of construction workers came out to protest because they've got nothing else to do. And
for 2 weeks.
Yeah. And so that went off, and there was clashes, and of course the media just twisted it. So 500 protesters, it's probably 8 to 10,000, and they were violent thugs. It's like they're trying to stay away from the police because the police are instigating most of this stuff. Now there are a small group of people. Allegedly, they could be undercover cops just trying to get pictures for the mainstream media to continue the narrative of please don't stand up against us. Please, we're doing the right thing. Stay in your houses, you peasants.
Monty, deep breath. Take a break, mate. Take a break. Deep breath, mate. Current update is that protesters have gathered at the Shrine of Remembrance.
Yeah, that's what I was watching.
Absolutely surrounded. So that's the situation.
Up until 17 minutes ago, I was watching Real Rukshan, Rukshan. He's getting over 50,000 views on Facebook, and a lot of international people are watching it as well. And at the time, the protesters and the police were negotiating a deal so the protesters could walk away from the Shrine of Remembrance. The Shrine of Remembrance is a war memorial to the fallen soldiers in the Great War and all the other wars from there. But it was built just after World War One. And so it's hollow ground, sacred ground, and the police didn't really want to go in and rip everyone a new one because that would be sacrilege. So it was interesting. But earlier in the day, I actually saw footage of the police opening up and shooting with pepper bullets and stingers, and that no warning, no nothing. They just ran up and started firing at the crowd.
Yeah, they did that the other day as well. Rubber bullets.
No. They gave warning. And they
actually did it the other day. Have you watched the Arab guy who's got a media pass? They shot the media with the rubber bullets as well. This was 2 days ago.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but the difference is today there was no warning, no nothing. They just turned up and started firing.
Neither was them. That's what I'm saying. They're doing.
No, they did. They did. No, I've been watching it. I've spent most of my life in the last 3 days just sitting here going, "Oh, this is stuffed."
Okay, you're right then. No one's getting shot right now.
Not at the moment,
this is
no.
mundane shit, bro. This is just media mainstream stuff.
Yeah, well, that's why we're trying to explain it. Of like,
and you're getting emotionally tied to it, aren't you?
I am not. I'm totally fine. What are you talking about? How dare you? What? Fine. I'm excited that I actually have content for my show.
Yeah. The problem is we've got no leadership, we've got no tactics, and we've got no weapons. It's a fruitless endeavour. Good luck with it.
Well, not necessarily, because we'll see what happens. We'll see what history.
Brownie points for your soul.
Yeah, the karma points are going through the roof, mate. So
I'm gonna smoke myself back to sleep.
Oh, sounds like a hobby. No, but that's basically sort of where we're at in Victoria. The media has been caught out lying. Where I even I tweeted out. What was it? If the mainstream media is saying hundreds of protesters, and then this photo has thousands of them, and which proves it's a lie, maybe don't watch the mainstream media anymore. Just putting it out there. And I mean, there is a bit of divide, but the protesters have adapted because Friday there was the construction workers went on a small protest because they weren't allowed to be in tea rooms because of distance and all that horse hockey, and so the police didn't do nothing, and they allowed it like that. They stopped traffic. They brought out tables and had a smoko in the middle of the road. On Saturday, there was a Freedom anti-lockdown protest, and that's the footage of Braveheart in that in the trench where capsicum and spray and the 70-year-old woman getting hit, which is I find disgusting basically because they want a freedom because the government response is being shit. I think that's the term we're looking for there. Yeah, anyway, and Sunday, it was the Lord's Day, so that was off, and then Monday, I mentioned that timeline. So, as a New Yorker, which is basically living in the 7th level of hell, Mr. Z, with all that shenanigans and crapness, do you envy us because we're having excitement?
John, did you go to the UN Assembly and get a show back?
Oh yeah, I was first in line.
Go.
Yeah, interesting. There was one of the podcasts I listened to, No Agenda. They had a meetup over there right around the same time all that was going on, and a couple of them went over to one of those protests, and they got a good picture of some undercovers, and you can see how everybody is just like talking with each other, and then there's like these two people who's got their sunglasses, hats, and shorts, and all, trying to blend in, but it was like playing Where's Waldo. Everybody's like engaged with each other, and these two are looking directly at the camera.
So. Oh, you're talking about that Fed rally, the FBI rally in Washington, where all the FBI turned up and they arrested the FBI.
No, I'm talking about over in Australia.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, no, because that also happened. Like you saw the only people that turned up to the J6 rally were all FBI agents, and the only arrest that was not committed. What's the word? The only arrest that they had was an undercover cop. So like. Yeah, that blue and on thing's going off. But yeah,
why did they arrest him? Is he undercover enough?
No. He was trying to say, like, with cameras all around, the media's all around. Oh, they're arresting someone, and he's like, "I'm undercover. Just go away."
It's off. On the gun, bro.
Yeah, I'm Phoenix Central. I'm burnt. But there was mention in the live streams today of Melbourne. There's undercover, private profit, all that stuff, and because they're causing violence. Anyway. Yeah, and it's all about also on Monday night and yesterday as well, they show a bit of violence. There are people throwing rocks and stuff because they're frustrated, but then you have the police beating the crap out of people, and they call the police are no wrong. Everyone at the protests are thugs, and they're looking for a fight. And I'm like, you're describing the police. You're projecting it.
We are a test bed of sorts, but a lot of countries have gone through. I mean, you remember America had the Portland sieges and all that. They set up camp, and I haven't heard anything about that or what's going on with that. France had their, was it the green?
Yellow vest.
Yellow jacket.
Yeah, if I may interject, both of them are still going on, and I'm sure all the other ones you're going to mention are still going on, but the media aren't pointing it out.
There you go, mate. So.
Yeah, because you don't want to broadcast the police in Victoria actually forbade Sky News to stop showing aerial shots of the protest because the protesters were using it as a I
saw that today. Yeah, that's what they said. Protest, but I think they're covering up their crimes of brutality.
Oh, exactly, as well, yeah. Because the thing is, there isn't like a Judean People's Front where there's a structure and there's leaders. It's just a grassroots. People are turning up, and so there was probably.
You would have seen it this morning. You would have seen it this morning. A guy was arrested. They had him on the ground, detectives, and they told the media to back off, and they dragged him off into an alleyway, and that was it. Never saw him again.
Yeah, there was three or four groups walking around the city, and they eventually all met up. And because I was watching one group who were up near, sorry for everyone outside of Melbourne, local references, but bear with me. They were near the exhibition buildings, and that's where I saw them firing at the protesters without warning. And then they hooked up with the bigger crowd that ended up at the Shrine of Remembrance. Which is what, 3K or something?
They did the same thing about banning drones over by the bridge in Texas.
Mm-hmm. That's still going. I mean, like you think, and then of course they're attacking the border control because they're on horseback. Oh, they've got whips. They're reins, you idiot. That's how you steer the bloody horse. And in Public Enemy, they're losing points with me. I liked old Public Enemy, but now they're morons. They're there. Yeah. Clip that, ladies and gentlemen. That's just exactly the same as slave owners. Like, oh, really? Apparently, if only a president was building a wall and stopping all these trespassers.
That's funny.
It's funny about that. Not too long ago, probably only about a week ago. I forgot what podcast I was listening to, but it was a ex-military member, and I can't believe like the dumb crap that was coming out of his mouth. He goes, "What's the point of building a wall? It's not going to do anything. They're still gonna get into the country somehow." And I was just sitting there, and I was like, "Is he listening to what's coming out of his face hole right now?"
Exactly. You know? I mean, have you seen this footage of tens of thousands going across a bridge? Like, if there was a wall, it would be harder to get into it instead of like what does the Statue of Liberty say? Give me your paw, give me your thing. Yeah, if you fill out the forms, that's the issue.
Yeah, they're dragging people off.
Like hey, you wanna go to Mexico to get some real tacos? Yeah. Come back.
Can I just add to this conversation? Can I give the thoughts of a Native American? Mm-hmm. Damn, I should have built a wall.
Yeah. White man.
Same goes with the original inhabitants of Australia.
Yeah. Well, yes, because like I know people of the Jewish faith like to bring up the Holocaust from World War II. Yeah, fair enough. Let's not have that again. But I see your European Holocaust, and I raise you by 95% the Turtle Island Holocaust, where 100 million natives in America were killed. Like you want to bring that up? just putting it out there.
Flush.
Yeah. So I'm not looking. I don't have a live feed to what's happening at the shrine because my computer will probably shat itself.
Okay, they've moved up to the hill. They're a meter apart now. And just to add, the other day, was it yesterday? You would have seen him on TV. A guy was carrying a Donald Trump flag.
Yep, and of course all the SJW lefties go, "Oh my God, Donald Trump," and like, "Oh, geez, that divide."
The 2020 flag.
Yeah, just the way that the media is pumping it, and I've seen one comedian. I have never used the snooze button on Facebook's. Yeah, I haven't used the snooze button on Facebook so much in the last 24 hours. Like, I'm just going to snooze you for 30 days. I'm going to snooze you because it's fake. It's a fake tradies. This whole protest is completely fake, full of neo-Nazis and thugs. And like, how far out of reality are you?
It's so weird because, like, look, I can understand, like, look, you got your own opinion. You want to talk about it. That's fine. You want to associate with your own group of people. That's fine. But at what point does reality come in and smack you in the face? I mean, like, at this point, if there's camera footage of someone pointing a loaded gun at someone, someone's going to say, "Oh no, he didn't mean it." Like nobody can agree on anything at this point, even if it's staring them in front of their face, and it's terrifying.
Yeah. And yes, we have been joined by our New South Wales correspondent. Oh dear God! Lucky this is a visual an audio medium, but we just saw Beaker has joined us, ladies and gentlemen. Me. Anyway, there you go.
Howdy doody. Sorry, I'm late there.
No, that's all right. Don't worry. Pony told me to take a breath because I've got content from the last 7 days, and I'm like,
what have you covered already? Everything.
Well, basically everything because it's
just
connected.
Melbourne.
Yeah, the subcontract. Israel gets the loss of funding from the U.S. government, and China and its possible economic collapse, as well as the protests and the what's the term? Bullshit from the mainstream media. And it's just like, there's a great Chinese curse. May you live in interesting times.
Damn you.
Yeah. Have you seen that meme where it's like, I'm tired of living through a historical event. I'm kind of there now.
Yeah, I'm ready. It's a crisis-tunity again.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't have a drinking problem. I have a drinking crisis. No. What is it? Damn it.
How much for rent in this fine apartment you've got here? This is a bottle shop, young man. Get out.
Good times, good times. Come back tomorrow when we're open.
Biden didn't pull the funding. He just lost the paperwork.
Yeah, he probably used it when he went to the toilet.
It's probably with that $2.82 trillion where that went.
Well, the thing is, you basically, if you want to distract the president of the United States, allegedly, have ice cream or buy an ice cream truck. Anyone who wants to protest Biden at a Biden event, just get an ice cream truck and start playing Greensleeves as you drive by. It'd be awesome.
Does he like ice cream? Does he?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I could see if a bunch of the front row, had all ice cream. I could just see him going, when did we get ice cream, guys?
Well, I'll answer Cortek's question again. The Taliban has photos of them all eating ice cream, trolling Joe Biden.
Okay, so I've seen a couple of things on with that, and I wasn't really sure what the ice cream connection was.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, because Donald Trump drinks a glass of water with two hands. 72 hours of news footage is about, is he a weak president? And Joe Biden, in a national crisis, goes to get ice cream, and the journalist's poignant question is, "What flavor do you like, sir?"
Yeah.
What flavor does he like? No one cares, but kind of cap things off a little bit.
Yeah, and also I know to find as well Kamala Harris, a perfect example of why if you become president, find someone shitter than you, so that way you won't be assassinated. Because but if you take out Biden, we'll get Harris. I mean, it worked for Dan Quayle and George Bush. That's why George Bush wasn't taken out, because you get Dan Quayle.
That's the main marketing for a rule for being in politics, isn't it? Just to be slightly better than the next shit person behind.
In the line of succession. However, apparently she has called for an investigation of the Biden administration about the border crisis, and someone commented underneath, "Wait till she finds out who's in charge of that," which is her. We need to find out whose fault is this. It's yours, madam. Oh, we don't need it anymore.
It's just like Hollywood. Put in a bad actor so the next actor isn't so bad.
Yeah, and strangely enough, the writing is as bad now as well.
It's see-through.
It's like, what are you people doing?
I think the Biden laptop news story, I think it came up again. So I'm waiting to hear the more.
What was that story? Not his son's two laptops that have gone missing.
Well, that's what I was about to say. I think this is the second one. It's not real. It's added to the story. It's not the original story that was suppressed before the election, which is a story in itself. And we suppressed this. Move on. But then Hunter's lost a second one. Really?
He's selling them out the back door just for a couple $100 profit to buy crack.
Well, parmesan and cheese is expensive now. So
I give you the laptop. You give me the cheese. That's a deal.
Yeah. Oh, smell that. That's rancid. That's going to be awesome.
Where's my mouse?
There it is.
Yeah. And also, the Emmys were overnight. Yes, I know, I don't care either. But the hypocrisy where all the performers in a tent, no social distancing, no masks. However, all the servants had masks, exactly the same as that metadata fucking dumb ball thing with AOC tax the rich.
Oh yeah.
The funny thing is with this. With this vaccine passport thing over here in New York, it's pretty funny because 1 second. Sorry. It's pretty funny. The police are not going to enforce it at all, and especially because it's affecting mostly bars and restaurants, stuff like that. These are people that have been shut down for like at least half a year, and with all these bullcrap restrictions, and they're actually enforcing it themselves. So it's only being enforced by store owners, business owners, and I'm just thinking about it. I'm like, is it because they're afraid that they're actually going to get shut down, or are they afraid that they're going to get cancel cultured or fined?
Because over here, it's government policy. If you're a business, you need to put this stuff where people need to scan the stuff on the way in. You need to do all that kind of stuff as a business. They just mandated it from that point of view. So any kind of business who wants to stay open and not get checked, and shut down again, wants to look like they're doing stuff. Again, over here, people aren't, people got the signs up, but, most people should be thinking #delete the app by now,
Yeah. I mean, it's just crazy because, like, I completely forgot about it. I went to go walk into a bar on a Friday night. It was like 11 o'clock, whatever it was. There was 4 people in there. And as soon as I stepped inside, like I barely got my second foot through the threshold.
The guy on the player piano stopped playing and looked around.
Everyone just went. Just turned. Yeah, but no, it's crazy. They're turning away business, and I can't tell if it's just out of like I said, getting actual shutdown, or I mean, at this point, with this whole vaccine mandate thing, which is just completely illegal, never mind morally just wrong. At what point do people just go, there might be something else, besides health and safety here,
It's taking a while.
It's taking a while. There's a penny drop. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but it's there was a poll taken in the United States, and you could basically see who's believing the propaganda. But what was nearly 2/3 of Democrats? Now I could be wrong, but the point is, they believed if you get COVID, what is the percentage or what is the chance of you ending up in hospital? And most of them thought it was over 50%. It's actually between 2 and 5%, and people are afraid, and they still believe. And it's the governments as well as the media that are pushing this narrative.
What's funny too is like even their own, like the CDC and stuff. Like if you look, it's nothing crazy, but I'm pretty sure flu kills more people than COVID, and we don't shut down the entire world when flu season starts, which
that is true. But the thing is, flu's kind of disappeared. So that if you're a critical thinker, it's like I wonder if COVID's been maybe that's
compare
COVID.
One to the other. Tough break. There's only COVID now.
Yep. And someone, I think it was Tim Pool, sharing it. You need a booster every 2 months. It's like, is this medical or just business? Because we're getting like, really?
See Alex on his show?
Not yet. I've saved it because Phil from All the Remains is on as well, and so I do like Alex on Tim because he's allowed to be full Alex.
So side. Every time they went off topic, you could just see his face was like cringing, like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna get kicked off YouTube."
Yeah, but that's big tech. If you follow Elijah, I can't remember his last name, but Sydney Watson. No, it's not. It's not. Keep your ring to yourself. Those bloody hobbits. Yeah, that's 12. I just want to see 12 hours of hiking. That's the show for me. It's a good film. Just the chicks love it. That's the awesome bit. It's like, hey baby, do you want to watch the Lord of the Rings movies? Yeah, the extended versions. Oh, all right, I'm in here. Anyway, Sydney Watson, who's also an Australian but also half American as well, she has a show that was on YouTube, but they've only been on air for a week, and they've already got 2 strikes on the show, and they can't broadcast, so they're on Blaze TV. And big tech doesn't like people jumping out of the narrative.
Didn't we learn that last year? I mean, why are we going around in circles? I thought we learned 10 years ago, not to trust media or politics, and yet here we are with people just saying, what's going on today? Let's tune in. Oh, let's tune in. They like celebrities. No, when you make them celebrities, you make the government, a game show.
Well, okay, here's a serious question. There has to be one serious question on Planet Collingwood, and right now I'll just get the Doctor Who reference out of the way. There we are. We can move on now. So tick that box. where can we find news? Because like my stepmother has said, oh, you get your information from YouTube, and I'm thinking, yeah, Yale, Stanford, Harvard, they're all on YouTube. But anyway, where should we get it from? Because it's either independent media, alternative media, or mainstream media, and it's I still have to look at ABC so I can get a gist, just to see how the other half live, type thing. Where it's like, oh, you're talking crap about that. But yeah, you are correct. Like, it's very hard to find actual news unless you are there.
Personally, I like the podcast No Agenda, because they do have good independent sources, and they actually comb through the mainstream channels, and they deconstruct it very well. These are people that are writers, producers.
It's a large network, and large network, and there's a reason it's popular, because they're actually doing journalistic theory of finding out facts, and just no agenda. I'm sure there is an agenda because we're human, but I'm saying that would be the premise of the actual show, is to just try and find the truth on basic facts instead of embellishments.
The clip they get, and when they deconstruct it, it's amazing, because I can just imagine people listening to it on the mainstream, and because they breeze right past it in the mainstream, like, you never get a second to stop and think about it.
Yeah. What's the URL where people can find that?
Just Google No Agenda show.
Yeah.
What is it, twice a week, I believe?
I think so, yeah. Just going live now. Yeah, I put the link for Rukshan's Facebook thing. Not everyone has Facebook, understandable. I think you can still look at it, but it's got that really big things like, would you like to join Facebook? It's like, no, go away. There are still people sitting on the shrine steps, and the police are up their nose. And this self-appointed leaders, and I mean that in a positive way, because you kind of need a form of someone to talk to. Their press liaisons are trying to negotiate with the police, because they did allegedly have a way out, but then another group of police were arresting them, and it's a shit show, as basically what's going on.
It's interesting that Australia is like the testing ground for a lot of the international stuff.
Yeah, same with New Zealand.
What's really interesting, besides that, is the way the inverse of the police is happening right now. So at least over here, everybody's demonizing the police, and I'm not saying the police are perfect, but I was just watching a video today of a guy beat the crap out of his grandmother, stole a car, went 120 into a residential area, crashed into a ditch, rang someone's doorbell with a rock in his hand. Thank God the person didn't open the door. The sheriff deputy comes, and as he gets out of the car, the guy with the rock walks towards him, throws it, and beans it off his head. And the guy, the sheriff, wound up shooting him twice. And everyone's, "What are you doing? He only had a rock. Why'd you shoot him?"
He just hit me in the head with it.
Did the guy die?
Black man. No, he's alive.
Okay, yeah, a couple of the legs, on the shoulder.
A couple of warning shots, you'll be fine.
So,
but,
the point,
yeah, more training.
They're using the whole, oh, he was unarmed, or it's a black man, and then Australia, and as far as protest goes, we all know that it sometimes happens that way, where where they're just going to tear gas people and get them out of there. But again, over here, as far as protest goes, oh, these were peaceful protesters. They were just throwing peaceful bottle rockets and bottles and rocks and torching.
Oh yeah, the Black Lives Matter riots. See, they're riots instead of protesting. Yesterday's peaceful protests. Well, protests, we'll say it that way. Most of them were peaceful. And I sound like CNN. Most of them were peaceful. But they've got, they were riots. It's like, that's not a riot. Like throwing a bottle at a policeman's not a riot. Burning down half a black neighborhood in Minnesota, that's a riot.
Black Lives Matter was different though. That even Cops Against COVID Truth in New South Wales said they saw the difference and the hypocrisy between when they were asked to manage a public demonstration and a Black Lives Matter demonstration. There were two different sets of agendas. Yeah, and how they were supposed to interact with them. Yeah,
and that's Australia. Like even our Black Lives Matter protests, because our natives keep dying in jail, and it's like, oh, they're fine. Like, then it's just a simple question: why do Aboriginals keep dying in jail? I don't think they're planning it. If they do that kind of sucks. But you've got the riots. Like, we haven't really hit riot level. I mean, there's a bit of violence here and there because of the frustration after 18 months of having lives destroyed. And then you have people going, oh, arrest them all. Even people like death threats, like Rukshan, who is an independent media person. He's just filming everything. He's getting death threats because he's showing this. He's getting over 52,000 streams at one time. He's getting 10 times more than what, say, the ABC's getting or Sky News is getting.
Probably because he's showing real news.
Yeah.
No one wants an opinion of it. That's why people are driven to find their news through first-person accounts, because any institution that's set up to tell the news can't help themselves profiting on making the news themselves.
Well, and also when you see a protester who throws a rock or a bottle, there's 10, 15 people going, hey, stop that, because they know that will be used against them. The way that the media, 8-hour protest, and they show 3 minutes of some idiot trying to beat up a cop, and then label everyone, 10,000 people, like, oh, they're all thugs, they're there for a fight. It's like, I think you just described the riot squad, because they're the ones who turned up in body armor and a shield.
Big battens.
Yeah. And then beanbag and rubber bullets and pepper bullets. It's like, well, that's new. Now, most of you wouldn't know the history of Victorian police. They just used to shoot people in the 20th century. So, I mean, it's a step up.
Update, they are clearing out people one by one. They've set off, they're up on the shrine. Police are moving in, and everyone's running. They've let off orange smoke.
Where are you watching this, Pony?
Yep. Rukshan is. I'm just watching. I'm on the Facebook one. I can share if you want to have a look at the Facebook. This is independent media. Is it the horse brigade? The horse squad. The horsies are there, and the flares. Now the thing is, of course, the media will just start labeling, these thugs, and they desecrated the thing. But the police just kept stepping closer and closer. It's like a narcissistic boyfriend or girlfriend. Stop hitting yourself. Stop hitting yourself. Being gaslighted and like, come on, guys.
At some point, if one person throws a bottle, they're gonna eventually, they're eventually going to disperse the crowd. It's just the way it is. And I'm not saying it's right, but that's.
Well, it's optics, and also the government has lost control, and that's basically it. And it's just widening the divide, because people think the Black Plague's out there and everyone will die. There still isn't a scientific report of open air transmission.
Yeah,
and this is not the first protest. I mean, it's the fourth protest in 5 days, but there have been protests since April last year.
The frequency needs to increase. It needs to go from once a month to once a week to every day until this stops.
Well, see, that's one of the things they're chanting is every day.
Nice.
Now, the interesting thing is the Premier has said protests don't do anything. It's like, well, eventually they will.
You haven't seen one yet, buddy.
Yeah, because Pony, if you remember, there was a protest about there's a famous pub in Collingwood called the Tote, and it was going to close because of bouncers and all, and they couldn't afford, because the crowd control is like, you need a bouncer for 40 people, and if you're a jazz venue, I don't really see fights breaking out. And 15,000 people turned up, and they changed the liquor licensing laws because 15,000 people turned. Mind you, the irony is it took a pub closing that 15,000 people turned up, but we're Australian. So like, what? I can't drink there. I haven't been there for 4 months. I better stop this. And
this
then
is getting serious.
The whole area is clear. It's as if no one was there.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yep.
So what I think, if a group of people are truly there to peacefully protest, I think they should literally start policing themselves. And what I mean by that is anyone that throws a rock or does something stupid towards the police, need to zip tie that person,
hog tie them,
throw them over to the police and let them deal with it.
Well, actually, not at that level, but they are starting police because they saw how the media would change things. Like on Monday, they punched in basically the officers for the union, which is kind of ironic because they needed construction workers to rebuild it. Yeah, just a small job, cash money, be all right. And then the head of the union, I was trying to explain earlier, then the head of the union called, not all our members were in protesting. There were right-wing Nazis. And that just made everyone riled up. Well,
Hey,
excuse me?
I know what's going to happen now because Sky News is controlled opposition like RT. And I saw it last night, but didn't realise. Now I know all the conspiracy theorists are going to run, this is China's takeover, because they control Dan Andrews and the Belt and Road Initiative to Melbourne. This is all Tiananmen Square style Chinese communism. They're coming. They're coming. That's what they're going to sell.
Yeah, and just to finish my little story, so on the Tuesday, after closing down the construction industry for 2 weeks, you had more workers doing nothing, and so tens of thousands of people turned up. Then there was violent clashes. Right at the end, at 5:30 yesterday, there was about 50 people left because they walked to the Westgate Bridge and back again, which is 5 kilometres. It was a long time. Everyone's legs were jelly. As they were dispersing, the riot squad fired into those 50 people. Just so very childlike.
Yeah.
And then from the reporting of Tuesday, where fake tradies were all Nazis and everything else like that. I mean, Rukshan was going around to the Sikhs, the Indian people religion, where they wear the turbans and they've got the long beards.
And they don't cut their hair. I think that's why.
Exactly. Yeah. They're not exactly Nazis, and he just went through. It was kind of hard to find any Anglo-Saxons because there was a lot of Greek, and it was a mixed match. I don't think there was actually a Nazi there, except for the police in some of their actions.
So, those 40 Mike tear gas grenades, man, they're heavy, I mean, you brought it out to play, might as well use it, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, they've got an armored vehicle. It's a troop vehicle, but it's black and it's like got the hatch on the top. It doesn't have any weaponry, but the police person can have a rubber bullet thing or something else like that. And yeah,
if anyone wants to tune in, it's Real Rush Khan on Facebook. RUKSHAN.
Yes, and also if you're in Revolution Radio's chat, the mighty RD47, I love that droid, shared a actual YouTube one. If you aren't part of Facebook as well, there's nice. a lot of live streaming on. And at this point in time, where did it go? I've got too many things open. Rushgan has 58,000 people watching.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So
take that, MSN.
I forgot who, what that was it, Lightfoot or something? The Chicago, what was it, the Chicago mayor or governor? I forget which. They redid their budget, and so instead of defunding the police, they added another $200 million to the police budget because they realized they actually need police.
Yeah, in Chicago as well, and also the mayor of Chicago, which they had Lollapalooza recently, no masks and everyone's rubbing up against each other. But COVID doesn't like music, but she does look like Michael Keaton from Beetlejuice. And that's not being mean. I've seen photos of them together. It's like, well, it's not that hard.
It's pretty close. All you need is a little bit of green hairspray and you're done. Yeah.
Now, I think we should be at our break, so I can't unless we're... are we breakless again? Can't. There it is.
Hey!
I'm right. Bow down to my matiness. You're listening to Revolution Radio Studio A. This is Planet Collingwood. My name is Monty Dean. As Pony said, I need to take a breath. We'll be back after this because we've got another hour of stuff and we'll be sharing that. Don't you forget about I'll put you in the back and I'll tell you. That's my Sir Joe Bielke-Pearson impression that only 3 people would remember from Queensland. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Planet Collingwood. My name is Monty Dean here on Revolution Radio Studio A. And it looks like the protesting for today has ceased. And we'll start up tomorrow and continue on. And this endless cycle of just fighting authority and everyone picking a side, and it goes on and on and on. If you liked the last hour, please go to revolution.radio or freedomslips.com and donate what you can. We're 100% listener supported, 100% volunteer. We're just 100%. I think it's the longest running crowdfunding project on the internet till someone tells me I'm wrong. Once you're at the website, pop into the chat room and hang out with like-minded, like-hearted, and just liked people. And some can be loved as well, because we all need a little bit of love. I've been joined by John Z, Perny Pones, and Cortek.
You have.
Yeah, and well, that's a good way of keeping the momentum going. All right, everyone, here's Bernie.
Present.
I'm here. Yeah,
present.
It's good to be alive.
Birthday. Home.
What?
Bingo. What were the other terms you could use to say you were here? Or even bingo?
Bingo. Yo.
Bing pot.
Yeah, I heard that as a kid.
I got yo from Police Academy when Officer Hightower. Hightower, yo. So you've forgotten comedy gems.
Yeah, I derailed everybody. I'm sorry.
Not as sorry you're going to be in the green room.
As long as there's green.
Yeah, yep. The thing is, well, yeah, we're seeing the old world slowly crumble and disintegrate, and there's a new world on the other side because
Christ, it's unity.
So let me put that into a sentence. Geez, us have a Christ eternity.
What are we talking about?
Well, I don't know. It's like, are we over the depressing stuff or the challenges of living in the 21st century in the West? Because there are ways out, but you don't pay attention. I do find it interesting in the 21st century. Hey, all right, disco.
Hey, whoa.
Yeah.
Why did mine sound off like that?
I don't know. John's trying to call.
Sounding off.
Yeah, but I'll just
present.
I'll add. I'm here too. So he tried to call in, but that doesn't make sense. So I'm calling him now, and he's joined. And so you know how these Americans are with their differences. I mean, they burglarized. What that type of word? Anyway, are you there, John? What?
Yeah.
What?
Oh yeah.
And another thing.
Yeah, and another thing.
Did you see? There was in some park in the US. There was a guy that got arrested because he was carrying a handgun, but it turned, like, he showed his ID and it was like there was a badge in there or something. So it was like a Fed arresting a Fed, and it was all on video.
Yes, I did mention that. Yes, at the FBI rally, the FBI arrested someone from the FBI. That went well. Let's So we sort of we didn't go negative last hour, but let's lean towards the positive. There was a moment at the shrine today with the protesters and the police. Everyone there actually had a minute's silence for the 2 construction workers that committed suicide this week, as well as all the other suicides that have happened over the pandemic.
That's a big step forward, even acknowledging that.
Yeah, it's like they acknowledged it, and everyone was quite. Some Yahoo going, woo. It was like, yeah.
Oh,
little Jimmy's an idiot. No, that's not. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that type of thing. But it was quite moving. Of like, well, see, there is a way out, and we can work together, and it doesn't have to be conflict, and you can talk. But just focusing on because apparently there's a lot of police that aren't happy what they're doing, but it's a job and they're getting paid. And I keep thinking, Nuremberg.
It's always a choice.
Exactly. You're just following orders. Do you know your history at all? I'm just bringing that up. So it'll be interesting to see how it all falls out. But that was a moment in time. I actually tweeted what a moment in history in Melbourne, where protesters and police had a minute's silence for all the suicides in the pandemic. And
because no mainstream media wants to touch that with a barge pole.
Oh, no, they wouldn't bring that up because it's like, wait, hang on, the protesters and the police agreed on something?
What you wanted people's suffering story? No, we can't run that.
Yeah, remember when Joe Biden, the former vice president of the United States, said, we want unity, and hasn't done that at all. But what we're seeing there is actual unity of there was a lot of things of we're all Australian. What are you doing? Type of attitude.
Love it.
Yeah, because it's about freedom, but a lot of police are over the pandemic and everything else like that, but they're following orders because they got they're taking the money basically.
There's also I also saw something. There is also kind of frontline professionals who are really being pressured on, or after the end of this month, if certain law cases don't go well. I don't know what's going to go. No one knows what's going to happen. Just needs to be more pressure. But they have something written into their charter, which is something like a responsibility to report things that might result in, people's health getting worse, like anything that might come into market untested or anything like that, in that hypothetical situation. And they've got actual legal channels that they can follow if they think that whatever is going on involved in their professional role is leading to harm or detrimental effect on the public.
Well, interesting enough, in the United States, people are quitting because of if I have to do this, I'm leaving the profession, as well as they're starting to fire people if they don't. Can anyone answer this question? Is it wise of firing first responders and medical professionals in the middle of a pandemic?
No.
Yeah, all right, okay, all right. Just making sure there. I just want to make sure because it's like, you people are idiots. Oh, there was doctors saying, we're not going to treat unvaccinated people. It's like, well, you suck. But also on the other side, in some place in America, it's can you hold off having a baby, please? Because the nurses aren't there to help in the nursery because they didn't take the jab and they were fired. This is the level of stupidity.
Did they change the Hippocratic Oath recently? I think I heard somewhere that they actually did. That kind of, help everyone kind of thing.
Well, keep changing. They keep changing everything. So breastfeeding's now chest feeding. Men can get periods. I'm here for trans rights. It's like, well, I'm here for human rights. Oh, you're a bigot. Oh, so you're saying trans people aren't human? I think you have an issue. You need to work out.
So a couple things there. So they have started, because I think the deadline is the end of the month for most hospitals. So
sounds like it's aligned both here and there then.
So there's already been numerous amount of people that have quit from the the hospitals, and then the rest of them are, I guess, going to be fired. What's interesting though, there's quite a few YouTube personalities as well as a whole bunch of nurses that have started lawsuits in different states. And I think there was one where the judge said, like, no, like this doesn't make sense. Like you can't fire them. But that was only in one state. But here's something interesting too. So it's not just that that nurses are quitting because they don't want to take the vaccine for whatever reason.
Nurses, firefighters, doctors, police.
Specifically, what I'm referring to here, nurses. There's actually been quite a few of them that have been talking recently about the practices that go on in the hospital, regardless, specifically when it comes to maternity, the maternity ward. And I've talked about this in the past because I used to be up in the maternity ward trying to fix their baby alarm. Basically, if someone tries to walk out of the hospital, like there was an alarm that would go off, and that would always malfunction. So it didn't work anyway. But they would tell me all sorts of crazy stuff. So nowadays, especially with all the fake news or skewing of facts and media and all that stuff,
constant mockingbird psyop, someone would say.
Apparently, people don't realize now that babies have, I believe it's at least 6 months if they don't breastfeed of their mother's immunity. So there's really no point in getting any sort of vaccines or booster shots unless it's obviously for some sort of condition. And apparently that went out the window. And so they literally shoot these kids up that are less than a week old with all sorts of stuff that they don't need for years. And a lot of times it's like a 50-50 shot. The kid's heart stops. And so anyway, point being, a lot of the nurses, especially the senior ones, they've come out and started talking about all the different practices, not just of giving the kids shots and having a crash guard on standby, but of how they would harass the mothers.
Where can we find these guys on YouTube?
I forget where I was looking, but a lot of the stuff.
Yeah. Or wherever they are.
So, but like I said, like a lot of them have been coming out and talking about it, and so a lot of the senior personnel have been getting fired straight up just because they've been telling the truth. They're coming out and telling the truth because of how ridiculous everything is getting.
Yeah.
So good times. Good times.
You've heard of SIDS?
Sudden death syndrome. Yeah.
Yeah. Most likely they've had a vaccine and they just died. But you can't have that because of big pharma and everything else like that. Correct me if I'm wrong, John. Most hospitals are run like a business and not for health.
Yeah. So let me ask you something, Monty. In the grand scheme of things, at least over here, why would you listen to a pharmaceutical company that is completely immune from lawsuits due to death or injury when it comes to using their vaccines or whatever sort of shot?
How much money am I getting?
Per year to give up your job, you mean?
I'm talking as a person. Why would I listen to that?
That's my joke. It's like, well, unless they're paying me, I wouldn't.
Or unless you're in a job which pays so much and is demanding that you do, you're weighing up your life for money.
It's basically it's corruption and not extortion, but payoffs and everything else like that, bribery. It's that level. Johnson & Johnson. Well, I got the word wrong. I meant bribery, not Drew. Thank you for pointing that out. And now Cortek will point out all the mistakes I've had this year.
Well, I haven't seen Mr. Pedantic Man spring out yet this afternoon.
He's tired over the last couple of days. Like, just make its job. I want a furlough, damn it. Oh, there's a photo of nurses on the socials. Heroes last year, but getting fired this year because they won't take the jab. It's like they worked in with COVID for 12 months, but now they won't take the pharmaceutical the pharma jab. They're just thrown out. It's like, well, what? It's just silly.
It's just silly, and from every single angle, everything's been mismanaged. So, and that's a nice way to put it. If you don't want to be nice, you'd say there's some massive
corruption,
aligned agenda going on internationally.
And also, to add to that, it's transparent. The way it's not being hidden. It's there to be seen. As John example of, like, why would I listen to a pharmaceutical company that says take our product, but if something happens to you, I'm completely scot-free.
Take our product and I'll give you a free donut. Doesn't sell big candy on the side of the van.
Yeah. We've also been joined by our Boston correspondent, Brandon Young. B. Young's in the house, yo.
Yo, what's up?
Yeah, no, nothing much.
Yeah, not much, right? Hey, I had a crazy day today. I got into a car, drove into a ditch, run up to a house with a doorbell with a rock in my hand, and they wouldn't let me in. So cops come, chuck the rock at the cop, hits him off the head. Oh, what a day. Anyway, I'm there.
Wow.
Brandon the Rock Thrower Young, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. And
so you've been black this whole time.
That's right. You didn't know.
How dare you assume his nationality? Or is it gender?
How dare I assume his accent sounds white?
Yeah. Well, I'm sure there is a black American that has a Boston accent. It's like when Lenny Henry goes to New York and he's got an English accent. It just freaks out over the Americans. What? Excuse me, can you show me to the bottom? What the hell's wrong with your voice? I'm English. What? Come over here.
Yeah. So you guys have been making a lot of waves over here in America. The Melbourne
protests.
I want to call it protests. And but man, some legends out there, and I don't know. It's just it's really it's good to see.
Yeah, did you see the footage? It was from Tuesday, but there was like 2 police patrol cars just ahead of the main group, who were making sure that the road was clear because they were allowing the protesters. But this guy on a bike was doing a wheelie and just riding around them. The Australian larrikinism is still alive today, ladies and gentlemen.
Brandon, what were you watching? Can you tell us what you were watching and what they were selling?
And where it was you're watching it on?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the mainstream.
So I watched this. Oh, this isn't even a mainstream. I don't think it was.
Okay, gotcha. That's all I needed to know.
Yeah. This was on YouTube, and they did this. One of my friends, he was hosting the show, and he said, we need to clone some of these people, immediately, because they're such legends. Like, you see some of these Australians going through the crowd, chucking things and crap, running into like quarterbacks. And one of my friends was like, he's like, yeah, that's because we don't have pads in football over here,
Yeah, we're like Klingons. We come across really passive aggressive, but we're nice people.
Yeah, we're Canadian Klingons, like, hey, I'm gonna stab you now, bro. Yeah.
Come over here, mate. We love you.
Yeah, come here.
You remember the next Canadian is charging at you with his hockey stick or whatever he has. You are fighting for our freedom.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's all good. It's all good to see, and I just wanted to say I'm really proud of everybody in Melbourne and everybody. And you have my solidarity and support.
Yeah, I think Melbourne really showed the way on the weekend, honestly.
Yeah. What I find amusing is the French have been protesting for 8 months, but the American people, whatever. They're French. I don't care. The burning thing. The farmers turn up with all their fecal matter and spray Parliament House and shit. Oh, whatever. Yeah. But it's interesting. So it's like the English Western world. And I think that's what the exciting part is that you're seeing is like the Five Eyes, which is Canada, United States, England, and Australia, New Zealand. I think that's the five English-speaking countries. And so now it's hit here. It will be an inspiration to people in the United States. Now, I like to point out we don't have weapons, so remember that when you start doing this stuff.
Yeah, there's got to be a peaceful way to resolve that, and that's just by numbers of people. But people out there protesting, don't try and kettle them in. You know, this is not some G20 thing where you can just cart them off in black vans. This is people protesting about the mismanagement of what is it, 78 week 78?
Yeah, I was going to ask you. I've completely forgotten.
Yeah,
because the last 7 days has been a month's worth of history. So like,
it's incredible. It's just an inspiration to a nation to see that kind of stuff. And then I saw that footage. I think is probably what Brandon was referring to, where they've slowed down. Because I first saw that footage from a guy who was streaming in the middle of that pack, and when they just got cornered on both sides in that little, battle of, it was like a battle of Thermopylae.
Yeah, it was a cutting. Yeah. That was on Saturday. Yeah.
And the whole day, the people had been directed to that spot. The media was told, major media was told to stand up and down the left and right hand side of that to get these shots. There was that one about the woman who kind of got knocked down, who someone said recently was actually a guy with a wig on or something.
She is 73 years old. Her hips fractured and she has concussion.
Okay.
And she was pepper sprayed in the face 2 or 3 times.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought happened. But someone said it was conflicting information's come to light, but I don't know what the story is.
Well, no, there's a photo of her beforehand, and someone had a shot of her. There was a lot of I shared on my Twitter because the protesters are all angry young men, and the photo I've got is there's a grandmother with their granddaughter 1 meter away from the riot squad, and all I've done in air quotes is angry young men.
Yeah.
But
like the whole day, the crowd was directed to that cutting for that purpose and for that media advantage, it seems.
I think they took an advantage, an opportunity out of a crisis.
Were they Were they kind of being directed, or were they choosing their own direction there? Because all the cops have got to do is kind of just stand on each side for a crowd to go where they want.
Once they realised where the crowd was going, they knew the terrain, and so they could actually kettle them in and block them there. Beforehand, because we know on a broad stroke, the police are there to create confrontation. And so it makes the media can say, oh, look, these are all thugs. They're violence, and these poor police people are getting hurt.
Yeah.
And then you have footage of the police goading the protesters like, can't, I'm going to shoot you, that type of stuff. And so Saturday's protests, they were locked out of the city, and the police thought, aha, we've got you. We're spending $500,000 to put a ring of steel around the CBD. We're stopping public transport. Nothing's going to get in. That's the end of the protest. So the protesters go, oh, we'll just go to Richmond then.
Where's that ring? We'll just go just outside that ring. Okay, come on, guys.
The suburb next to the city. And their goal is to protest, but they stay away from the police because they know it will be used against them. And so what you're seeing is the crowd moving, and every time they see a police line up or cordon or everything else like that, like I'll turn around, and they're trying to stay away from the police. And where they got to, they ended up sort of in Kew, and they were heading down this road, which was heading back into Richmond across the Yarra River, where this cutting is. And the police knew were there, and so they were ready to stop them as they came up from the back. And because their idea is to kettle them in. John, you'll love this because it's pure military. It's not a killing box, obviously, but they want to surround everybody, and then they can pick one person out at a time and arrest them. They did this at the G20 or the G7.
G20,
was it Montreal in Canada? Back in 2000.
It's been successful in
Dan Dix, I can't remember the name of the documentary, explains it perfectly, where it was a dress rehearsal for New World Order type of stuff, because they surrounded 200 protesters and then eventually just took one out and arrested them. There was a camp there because they were against the protesting, and it's eerily scary of like, okay, this is their playbook, and they're still using it today.
Yeah, that one bit of footage when it kind of things just kicked off. And, I saw the footage from kind of halfway in that group, and the guy goes, "Okay, we're kettled in here," and then everyone, you could feel the energy, and then okay, we're moving forward, and everyone started to move forward. And only after that did I see the kind of footage from the media and stuff who are up the top, facing down.
And the reason they were doing that, they broke through like Braveheart, is so they wouldn't get arrested. They were escaping.
Yeah,
that's the only reason they're doing it.
It was so beautiful. There's I don't know who did it as well. I don't know. They put on socials that I'm gonna buy this guy a beer, but it was slow down of the front pack of those dudes. Of this one guy, I think it must be like it was like an American linebacker. He kind of bang was coming back towards the crowd, picked up this other constabulary member who shouldn't have been there, and they just bounced off, getting everyone free.
And it's the history of the Victorian Police. They had a thing, they usually shoot people. There was a famous incident of a 16-year-old had 2 knives at a skate park in North Fitzroy, and the way that they ended it, they pumped 6 rounds into the kid because he was running towards them. And so I mean no disrespect to our American colleagues, but it's American policing where like, oh, a jaywalker, quick, he's running, oh, shoot him. Oh, well done. It's like, police work doesn't mean killing everybody. It's like we caught the criminal. No, you shot his head off. But the Victorian
That's
police
not success.
Yeah, I mean, he won't offend again. I'll give you that. But the thing is, the Victorian police have that. Now, if you bring in that history, and you could also apply it to the unfortunate position of police are hunting and killing young teenage black men in America. And from the police side, every black young teenager is trying to kill us. And that's not true. However, there's that mentality where they don't know if they're going to, if a black person is pulled over by a cop, if they're going to get one of the rare nut jobs who hates black people, or a policeman pulls over a gangbanger with a rock. Like, it's for whatever, just
it's
give yourself
hard,
up.
But that's what you sign up to if you're a police.
But that's the narrative has been pumped by the media. It's like, every black man is a criminal.
Yeah, but we know not to trust the media, don't we? Do we?
But the thing is, people believe that the cops are hunting and killing young black men, and that idea is out there. I'm not saying that's what's happening, but in the back of the mind,
that was going on rampantly.
But still, even now, it's like that's why they keep jumping up and down about Black Lives Matter. Oh, this person got killed. It's like but he did 100. It's the latest example, as John said,
don't have a leg to stand on this latest one.
No, but the point is, people just say they're like, oh, cop killing a black person. Instead of
they need to look into the details.
Yeah, but they don't. That's my point. Is that ramping up where they both think they're at war, and it doesn't have to be that level, because there's interactions with law enforcement across the country a million times, but it's only these rare ones. I mean, apparently, if you want to go by shooting statistics, you don't want to be white, because police shoot more white people. Statistically,
from what I can see, the main problem still is that people have too much trust in the media still, and forget short memory that the organizations really can't be trusted just to make shit up and cause trouble.
Yes, but you have to break the brainwashing as well, like decades of brainwashing, like my parents.
You can't do that level of brainwashing. That's impossible. That's like 4 level down Inception business.
That's what I mean. It's like, I mean, they watch it, but it's still getting in there, and like
gotta tune into my 6 o'clock program.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't watch TV anymore, and when I somehow I have to, there's something on, which is extremely rare, maybe once a year. If I'm watching free-to-air television and the ads come on, Oh, just
at 25% volume up.
Yeah, the loudness, but just watching free-to-air television, the frequency that's pumped out, it's like I'm feeling like I'm getting dumber.
Can't do it.
Yeah, my IQ points are going down every second that I watch this, and it's a certain frequency.
I reckon if we had scientific agencies that really wanted to look into the interesting stuff, and that government agency of not flippant ideas, but ideas like that. I reckon it'd come out in the wash.
Yeah. Now, getting back to what I was explaining about the Victorian protesters, they've seen the police escalate where not Saturday's protest, the one before, which is I think a week or 2 weeks beforehand, when the police started actually firing rubber bullets at these people when nothing was done. I don't think they even threw bottles or rocks yet.
No, it was just another case of, well, we got the gear, we might as well use it, like JC said.
Basically, yeah. And so the police escalated, and it started that escalation. If you remember the Simpson episode where Itchy and Scratchy keep getting a bigger gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's that level where the protesters are throwing rocks and bottles at the police. Yeah, because the police shot at them with rubber bullets to start with. And so I wouldn't be interesting to see, like, there's cooler heads are prevailing where they're not bringing shields or weapons, or it's not a fight yet. It's protesting, and they're protesting the government, not the police.
I can understand, right? Sorry, go on. I can understand, right?
Yeah, but the police have turned up in full body armor and a shield and batons.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, if you keep doing it that way, and the protesters aren't being heard, when the protesters start dressing like the cops, then it will turn into a riot. And,
it's not a riot yet, and riot police in riot gear shouldn't be there unless kind of stuff's being destroyed, which it's not. Yeah. Just dressing like that.
Yeah. Exactly. Asking for trouble. Last night they said we're changing tactic, and so tomorrow we will quell this protest. And the tactic was not to give warning, is just when you see a group of people, fire into them with non-lethal weapons. And I've seen it twice. One was near the exhibition buildings, where you can just see they saw the riot squad. So instead of heading towards them, they went into a park. And then the riot cops got out of the van and started firing at them, so everyone just ran. And then there's footage from Arvey on Rebel News. He's standing at the centre of Melbourne, Burke and Elizabeth Street, and the riot cops just came in and started firing at the crowd, and they split up. And so the protesters who aren't armed or can defend themselves from flying pepper bullets started running. And so that's the government and police thinking of, like, well, we'll change tactic of firing indiscriminately at innocent unarmed civilians.
Seems a little bit loose cannon-ish, doesn't it?
Yeah,
on a departmental scale.
Yeah, and then you have I recently just read a tweet where everyone at the shrine was a right-winger. And they're defiling the shrine, and the narrative that they're pumping out is like, cool story, bro. Have you thought about writing fiction?
It's a shrine to war anyway. Who cares? Where's the shrine to peace?
Well, it's actually it's not a shrine to war. It's a shrine to the fallen who fought for freedoms. But I understand. I understand where you're coming from.
It's a big blocky kind of military structure looking thing.
But easy tight. We do have a veteran on the call.
It's not a statue of bloody Rocky.
Yeah, well, yeah. See, we need one of them.
All right, so take a step. Let's take a step back. Woosah. All right, from a neutral point of view here. All right. So yeah, what the police did was fucked up. All right.
Language.
Oh,
we tried to be a family show. They mucked up. That there was an M. He has a cold. Go ahead.
It's got a lisp.
Sure. Yeah, so so yeah, what the police did wasn't right. And personally, at least from what I'm hearing, Australians have been pretty actually reasonable and a little bit too passive in my head for a long time. So
I completely agree.
And I hear what you guys are saying about, dressing up in riot gear and all this stuff, but, look look at it from two different points of view here. You look at it from the peaceful protester side, where you have absolutely no intention of throwing a bottle or a rock. But I'm pretty sure that if you show up to a protest and you don't expect to have at least a chance of getting tear gassed or hit or trampled, you probably shouldn't be there.
It's different for Australia, but I know it's new here. But yes, you are correct. That you should have like a rag and some water just in case.
Yeah, or a balloon to deflect stuff. We're learning fast. Umbrella.
A balloon. Well, one of those hot air balloons, like the huge.
Just kind of have it dangling above your head. Not targets here. Red balloons.
Finish your thought, John, and then I want to share something from Twitter.
But the other thing is I don't know what the police presence there was. I don't know how many people, how many police were there versus civilians. But chances are, if it does go bad, you're usually outnumbered in a protest. If you're the police anyway. If you do need that stuff, it's not like you can go run to the van and go put on your riot gear if you need
it. Yes, that is true. Yes. There's a Twitter star called PR Guy who basically fellatio's the government. I'll say it that way. PR, promotion. And this is like victory tonight for Victorians as police dramatically reclaim the Shrine of Remembrance from far-right rioters who had occupied it, despite pleas from RSL clubs and vets. Now, I'll finish this.
There's no vets left.
Wait, let me. No, there is two, you idiot. Yeah. There, not from World War One. There's been more wars, dude. Did you turn up to history at all? Like, can you read a book? Let me finish this. Rioters refused multiple generous offers from the police to leave peacefully and again turned violent. Now, that's an interesting story, bro. But there was actually I don't know if he's Vietnam, but a veteran from ex-military veteran, had all these medals on. He actually spoke to the crowd and said, "I'm here by myself. There's no one behind me, and you're allowed to voice your opinion. But can you please get off? Like, respect the fallen." He was actually there for what the shrine represents, which is the Australian. And everyone's like, "Hey, you're right."
A lot of
the police went
Australians, lost their lives.
And then the police went in and did that. And then there's a next one, extraordinary patience from Victorian police on show at the Shrine of Remembrance today. If they can get this mob of the far-right extremists out peacefully, it will be a miracle. And it's like, there's that narrative again where, everyone that disagrees with me is obviously Hitler.
That was posed as an unbiased narrative, though, that one.
Yeah. So I actually tweeted underneath that mental illness is rampant these days. Because it's such a like that. The media says they call them one thing, where there are people that think that they're full of far right neo Nazis, and they all went to Kmart and bought high vis things to hide in and cause a thing.
Can't you see it, Monty?
It's full fake tradie stuff. See what? We're talking about a lot. Yeah.
I mean, we sound exactly like the Americans when they were battling for Trump. Oh, the media this, the media lies. They wanted everybody to see that. Like, they want us to see this. This is our little neck of the woods percentage gap thing that it will accumulate into the whole planet. But you sound like an American, just complaining about the media lying, and we know that.
I'm not complaining. I'm pointing it out. And this is just a guy on Twitter. But I'm pointing. I'm pointing. Well, this person doesn't. That's my point. Where people are believing the media.
Let them believe.
Not really. That's how we've got division.
People who believe us are already here.
Yes.
Yeah, but we can't do it by us. Everyone needs to be involved. That's the conundrum.
That's.
We're as strong as our weakest links, and that involves really trying to have some conversations with people who don't want to have those conversations.
Yeah, it's a group effort.
At this point, if you're not seeing what's going on, it's you've really kind of made this choice, and it's about you and your maybe your ego bias from trusting the government so much to do what they said, and now coming to light that maybe, well, that's not that good. Maybe won't find out for the next 10 years.
A lot of people think that the next election we can vote them out. They think that elections will help.
Well, yeah, that's the funny thing. I mean, especially with all these lawsuits over here in the U.S., man, like people somehow think that, like they're actually going to get a decision that's actually going to improve or, take away some power that the government's already taken. Like, I don't.
No, so go on.
I don't understand at this point. Like you said, if people don't see it for what it is, that's like me going into a gambling that's run by the mob, and I get cheated, and I'm expecting to get compensated. Like, it's not.
Oh, hey, yeah, it's like, I'd like to see you, manager. Oh, hey, come on, is this? This is not on. Oh, you mean like New Zealand saying to the Taliban is like, yeah, when you form your government, can we have some diversity there, please, and respect women?
That was great.
Did that really happen?
No. Yeah, the New Zealand actually said that to the Taliban. It was like, we're going to do it through Sharia law. Even someone in the US government, or was it a general from CIA or some whack job? He basically said, we're the Taliban government is all men. We're very upset that there's no diversity in the Taliban government. I'm like, what planet are you from?
Is this your first day? I assume the Taliban hasn't replied yet.
Well, actually, they did. They had a parade with all the American military hardware.
Nice.
I find that fascinating. It's like the Taliban learned how to fly a Nighthawk or a Black Hawk. If they flew Nighthawk, that would be very disturbing.
I saw a bit of footage going. So.
Yeah, but yeah, they know how to all work this. I saw footage of them in like a home gym, and they're doing all the workout. And someone commented underneath, "We attack them after they've done a leg session."
I saw some footage of them shooting this absolutely humongous gun, and then I think they might have put it onto auto or something like that, and this whole thing just lifted off this tripod and just kept shooting. This gun must have been like 3 meters long. It was just huge.
Oh yeah. It just the $85 billion worth of equipment.
Well, that's not even including how much cash that we gave to them. Like that whole thing. Like I know it's been talked to death. I don't want to rehash it, but the long and short of that was, it was screwed up on purpose. We paid for hostages, our own hostages, because we made a mistake on purpose. And we left Bagram Air Base completely intact, as well as all the equipment and vehicles, so that we can set up the next generation and this current generation, not just the Taliban, but we just opened a black market superstore for anyone that actually wants to do bad things, not just to us, but to anybody, especially in that region.
That was irresponsible.
And China's been seen in like that information about. I saw a friend of mine shared a video reporting on the lack of funding for the Iron Dome in Israel. Part of that information that he shared was that there was a Chinese delegation at Bagram Air Base. And someone has mentioned that, because the technology's been lifted, the Chinese now have access to American technology, where they may not be able to make it work, but they can reverse engineer it to see how it works.
Yeah.
See, it's not that they didn't have the technology, because anything there, I would hope anything truly sensitive is already gone. But to be honest with you, China already has all that stuff, because one, our government's been leaking, stuff for,
since the 90s. Clinton.
So that's number one. Number two, they have a little bit more current access, but like I said, they already had everything. But what pisses me off about the whole thing, it wouldn't have taken much to just freaking carpet bomb it, or better yet, just keep some freaking people there, and the whole thing would have been avoided. Wow.
Yeah, well, wasn't that part of the Trump deal or something? I mean, I'm sure you discussed it as a military man. They pulled out the troops first. They did it completely backwards. It's like you get everyone else out first, then you get the equipment, and then when your house is empty, then the last turn the light off when you're out, Colonel. All right, let's go. However, this time it was basically we'll leave overnight and we won't leave a note. They didn't even leave a note.
Sir, I think you've got that clipboard upside down. Shut up and get on the vehicle.
Shut up, Jenkins.
So, so anyone that's all the military, not all of them, but a lot of the military podcasts, I can't tell if they're just afraid to say what is actually going on for what it is and what they saw. Kind of like they're scared to talk the truth about reality, like where we actually are, or if they're just haven't looked into certain things. But I can say from my own experience, I've had a really unique experience in the military, but even back then in the early days of the war, especially around 2005, 2006, at least I could tell, and I couldn't have been the only one. You could tell that something was just wrong. And, there's been a lot of Vietnam veterans that have been coming out over the past couple of years, sharing their stories. And it's interesting, not just because I like history, but because it's almost a direct one-to-one comparison of everything that happened in Vietnam happened in Afghanistan and Iraq. And
pattern recognition, yeah.
In terms of how people were treated afterwards, you mean, or more than that?
I don't know, just the way everything was conducted from day one, like. With the exception of the initial invasions, because Afghanistan was pretty much pacified by the end of 2002. 2003. It was pretty much pacified by the time we kicked off Iraq. And, like I said, it wouldn't have taken much to kept it that way. But because Iraq started, we just pulled everybody out. And there's a lot of different parallels with Vietnam. And as the wars went on, there's a lot of things that just didn't make sense. Like, I'm not the smartest person in the world, but if it wasn't for politics, these quote unquote wars, they would have been done in 3 years or less.
It's incredible how long it just lingered on like this right now.
And also, Trump had a plan in place, or a date at least, and then there was a change of administration, and then you got this complete cock up, and then Sleepy Joe went and he blamed Trump. Oh, I inherited this. It's like, you had 9 months, you wanker.
There's definitely you inherited some of the things, but that's the excuse that's been used since this whole thing started. And personally, I'd like to smack freaking Obama, because that guy just
hey,
really
President Cool, hey, way, hey.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Joe Biden, so the Fonz.
If there's any kind of consolation that what the Lady Michael that got busted down in the Caribbean seemed to be his inheritance, or not his inheritance, his like leaving deal or something. Anyway, that's going back. The Lady Michelle. Did you hear that?
I like basketball. I'm cool. I'm hip.
I'm down with the children's.
Guess he thought he had to do something after Clinton played the saxophone.
Yeah, saxophone. Yeah. Sorry, I was just having a quick look at Twitter. Another slanging match. Bill Shorten, an ex-Prime Minister of Australia, referred to the union protesters as Nazi man babies. And so people are using that tag now. It's like, they think, I don't want to get the vaccine. Oh, you're acting like a child.
Yeah.
You can't
now
make
the
me.
people,
Yeah.
Now the people who don't want to get who don't give consent are the Nazis.
So
I find that the people are telling you what to do. Yeah, the people who want freedom are called Nazis, but from the people who are telling you what to do. John, go ahead, sir.
So let me ask you something here. This whole COVID vaccine mandate passport thing, So my understanding is that we're worried about the Delta variant of the COVID now, right? So the vaccine, I believe, only takes care of A and B strains and doesn't deal with C and D, right?
Yep.
What's the point? What's the point of anyone getting the vaccine for A and B now? Because we're what, like
Whoa,
almost two.
Hold on. Hey, hang on. I know you said you're not a smart man, but you're thinking way too much right now. Yeah, you're bringing in logic and critical
thinking.
Sounds
like a scientist with your technical mumbo jumbo.
Hey,
Dumb it down a shade.
Cortek, looks like we've got a thinker here.
Looks like we got a reader.
Yeah, you read things. What's wrong with you, boy? Flip on the tube. You are completely correct, because our fearless leader, Emperor Andrews, has said, now don't think of it this is an actual quote, don't think of it as a passport, a vaccine passport. It's more of a booster passport next year when you get your third jab. And a lot of people are like, I'm sorry, what? So how many times do we have to get stuck with this thing? And also, they want to open up the economy and the state at 80%. And then if you're vaccinated, you get privileges compared to being unvaccinated. So basically, 1 in 5 Victorians is now a second-class citizen.
Mm-hmm.
It's discrimination. It's not going to happen.
So my whole problem with the thing to begin with is we've been at this for over a year now, almost
78 weeks.
Yeah, a year and a half.
So anyone I would imagine the majority of people have gotten sick at least once with one of these strains. So if you're not dead and you've gotten sick, if you get sick again, it's going to be like what? The flu? Wow.
I picture you wearing a white lab coat at the moment with pens in the pocket.
And a clipboard the right way up.
I'd be wearing a white lab coat, but I'd be wearing board shorts and flip-flops with little pockets.
He's one of those Californian doctors.
And some kind of daiquiri with an umbrella in it. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. A Hawaiian shirt underneath. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
How's it going, bro? I'm your doctor too.
Yeah, totally bum it out, man. You got cancer. Okay, see you later. What, doctor? Nah, sorry, man. There's some awesome waves off Malibu. I gotta go.
So, you're totally gonna have to go in this cooker. We call it the cooker because you get radiated, and then we're gonna have to drugs, bro. It's horrible. You're gonna be throwing up. No,
you won't be. You don't have to go to school, dude.
Is that vitamin C and alternatives? No, you don't recommend that. That's not.
Oh, remember the heady days of December 2019 when you could get a second opinion from a doctor?
Oh God.
Crazy times, yo. We're coming up to the end. So thank you, Brandon. I wish you would stop talking, though. I mean, you're just interrupting and just constantly monologuing. Thank you for turning up, sir.
Constant. Yes, thanks for having me. All the best.
Yes, so we'll be back next week. So if you can make it, please do. Always a pleasure to hear from you. We've got about 2 minutes. So where can people find you apart from Planet Collingwood? Just at the local Walmarts?
You can find me at the local Marts, you can find me at the local pub and at the local gun range. So there you go.
Yeah, not at the same time or the same day.
Yeah, right.
I've had a couple of beers. Give me that rifle. Oh, let's go.
Yeah.
Pony, sir, thank you for being here. Are you going to continue on with an after party and code it up? Oh, he's fallen asleep again. I don't want to reach for the phone. Mr. Z, can people see you wandering the streets of New York?
Yes.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's a big place. It's very empty at the moment and run by a cruel. I go watch Dune. If you like science fiction, Dune's awesome.
Call me Snake.
Yeah. And Cortek, just can you leave your house yet? What's going on in New South Wales?
Yeah, but not very far. It's just the same old, same old.
Yeah, that's why we got excited with the protest. I know it's a bit dark material, but it's like, hey, something's happening. Oh, crap, look at that. I just recently saw footage of when the police opened up on the shrine. It's interesting seeing protesters run from well-armed, militarized police, and people think that was a win for society. Good on you. And thank you for listening. Yeah, and thank you, dear listener, for listening as well. If you're not in Australia, please take the information on board, because you can use that in conversations of like, do you want to turn into us? I would say no, because I know the American version is going to be slightly more exciting. I've seen your films. That was Planet Collingwood. We'll be back in 6 days and 22 hours. A big thank you to Brandon Young, Pony, Cortek, and John Z. Not sure what's coming up next, but it could be a moment of zen. We'll be back. Again, I'm just trailing off now. See you soon, everyone. Have fun.